yucky stuff, you might want to skip this video today, but we're going to be talking about Brian Landrie and the state of his body when they found it. So if you guys don't want to hear that, please click out of this video. I'm not going to be offended. If you don't want to listen, I would completely understand it. The medical examiner's report came out today on Brian Landrie, and there's new details about the scene where Brian was found dead. Now, I'm getting my information from Jerry Lamb, his Law and Crime article. So I'm giving him complete um, um, he's written the article. I'm giving him complete. Anyway, I can't think of the word today. My words are not coming today. I've had a long day, and it's been a good day. So I'll tell you about it when I get done. But he's written the article. I'm giving him credit, complete credit for the article. But the law enforcement in Florida gave the details about Brian Laundrie's or Landry's death, and they gave the information about how he murdered Gabby, and the medical examiner's office in Sarasota did confirm that he shot himself, and that. But the report itself, and I'm going to read from this actual article. I'm going to read this article word for word, just so you guys, you know, here we go. It says law enforcement authorities in Florida revealed grisly new details about the death of Brian Landrie, the 23-year-old man who was the only person of interest in the 2021 murder of his 22-year-old fiancee, Gabby Petito. The report released by the District 12 Medical Examiner's Office in Sarasota confirmed that Landry died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head, and also revealed for the first time numerous particulars about the scene where his body was discovered on October 20th, 2021. According to the report, Landry's remains and personal effects were scattered on the dirt ground in plain sight just north of Macahachie Creek Environmental Park within the Carlton Reserve and the west of Big Sloth Canal. Authorities were able to recover the vast majority of Landry's body, which was almost entirely skeletonized except for minimal areas of adipocere-like white sheen on some of the vertebra. Now, adipocere is fat tissue. So, if y'all don't know what that is, adipose tissue is fat tissue. No soft tissue remains, but for minimal, partially calcified coastal cartilage at the anterior aspects of some of the lower ribs, the report says. Multiple long bones, including bones of the arms and legs, all disclose carnivore predation activity characterized by gnawing and chewing, mostly on the distal ends of the long bones. So it does show that he'd been there for a while. Animals had already been chewing on the body. That's my addition. He didn't write that. The gnawing marks on Landry's bones were likely left by canines such as feral dogs and coyotes, as well as rodents and raccoons, per the report. Landry's skull was extensively fragmented into at least 27 pieces, and several of his teeth were not found. Investigators said that he fired a bullet into the left side of his head near his temple at a slightly upward angle. The bullet exited through the right side of his skull, traveling with little to no significant front-to-back deviation. Along with the remains, authorities also recovered several personal items left behind by Landrie, including a pair of green shorts, a green belt, a pair of green shoes, a backpack, a metal ring, a handgun, described as a snub-nosed revolver. The revolver was loaded with 2 live rounds and 1 spent round. A dry bag was also found at the scene containing a journal, a wooden box with a small notebook inside, and several photographs, one of which depicted Landrie. At a secondary scene about 250 feet southwest of the main scene, investigators found the skeletal remains of one or more animals that may be indicative of hunting, a hat with the Moab Coffee Roasters logo on the front, and a handwritten half note. The FBI in January released a statement saying that one of the notebooks found near Landry's body revealed written statements by Mr. Landry claiming responsibility for Miss Petito's death. There where the remains were located had previously been under approximately 3 feet of water for an extended period of time, which kept them hidden from authorities searching the area. Landrie disappeared in mid-September after returning home alone in a white van he and Petito had been using for a cross-country trip. The couple documented the journey on social media. On August 12th, the couple was captured on body camera video by authorities in Moab, Utah, after a suspected domestic dispute. Landry's Ford Mustang convertible turned up abandoned on September 14th near the entrance of Florida's Maxahachie Environmental Park, which is adjacent to the sprawling T. Mabry Carlton Jr. Memorial Reserve. Landry's family attorney, Stephen Bertolino, in October told the Law and Crime Network that Brian Landrie flew home from Salt Lake City to Tampa to join his family on August the 17th. The attorney said Brian flew back to Salt Lake City on August 23rd to rejoin Gabby. Petito's remains were discovered on September 19th in Wyoming. I don't know why that clock's going on. Brian flew back to Salt Lake City on the 23rd to rejoin Gabby. Petito's remains were discovered on September 19th in Wyoming's Spread Creek dispersed camping area. An autopsy performed by a Teton County coroner determined that Petito died by strangulation. Now, we all know that Gabby didn't just die from a mere strangulation. Gabby died from blunt force trauma to the head and to the neck. So, more than likely, her head had been slammed up against something, slammed on the ground. Her neck had been slammed up against the ground or something, something. She was beat up against the ground, beat up against something, maybe accidentally, and then she was strangled. So, so we know how bad that Gabby died. It wasn't an easy death for Gabby. A Wyoming grand jury indicted Landrie for the alleged unauthorized use of access device. Example, a credit card on September 23rd. The debit card, presumably Petito's, was said to have been used to purchase more than $1,000 in goods and services in Wyoming and elsewhere. Landrie was never arrested, and the case was never progressed. It never progressed beyond accusation that he may have killed Petito. And then they give the full report below. I haven't read the report. It's 47 pages. I may go in and read the report later, but I just wanted to let y'all know that they did release the report today. And let everybody know what happened with Brian and how they found his body, where they found his body, and I just want to say this. I've seen a lot of people, and let me just get this out there. I am a citizen of the United States, okay? A citizen. We are citizens, YouTubers, Hapsters, whoever it is, crime junkies. We are citizens. We are not police officers, detectives, licensed detectives. Those of us that are sleuths or those of us that follow crimes, we're not privy to what the police knows for a reason. So, those of you on YouTube, when I see you all say, well, I don't know why they didn't tell us this in the beginning. We're civilians. That's right. When you all say, well, I don't know why they didn't tell us in the beginning, there's a reason they didn't tell us in the beginning. There's a reason they didn't tell us about Gabby having blunt force trauma to the head. There's a reason they didn't tell us about finding Brian's body out in the open. There's reasons for everything that they do, because what if Brian had been murdered? What if there'd been no mention of him killing Gabby? What if Brian's body had just been laying out there and there was no gun damage to his body? Then there would have been a murder investigation for Brian. So you see, we're not privy to everything because they have an investigation to follow. So we're not being told things on purpose. So us YouTubers that feel entitled, you guys need to back off. And those of you, and let me say this with the most big neck that I can, get get real with yourselves and realize that we're not internet sleuths for, we're not police officers for a reason, right? I mean, you're not a police officer for a reason. There's a reason you're not working for a police department or sheriff's department or as a detective or as a investigator. Okay? So do not feel special and think that you deserve to know more than what they're telling you. So get over yourselves. Now there's some really great people on YouTube that tell the stories and they don't assume anything. They get the information, then they tell what they feel about it, but they don't say, "Well, I think that the police department needs to tell us more." No, they don't, because if they don't hold back certain things, how would they ever know? Yeah, well, it's not just criminology channels. There's a lot of side seat detectives. You got those, there's a lot of criminology channels, but there's a lot of really good, like, I love Bailey Sarian. I love Bailey Sarian, but there's some out there that are not like Bailey that are just, I watched this guy, what was his name? Crime Shogun? I don't know, something like that. Something Shogun. And he's got Piggy is his pit bull, and she's his castmate. He said, "Well, they should have told us this information from the get go." Well, no, sir. They don't tell you that information because there is a reason. We didn't deserve to know that information from the get go. We don't deserve to know anything. As civilians, we shouldn't know anything about these cases. The news makes us know about cases. We shouldn't know anything about some of these cases. There's some things we shouldn't know anything about. And a lot of times we get told stuff about cases we should know nothing about. And the police departments have a harder time doing their job because of internet sleuths. I'm just letting y'all know. So I'm just reading what they've released. I don't go digging. Because there's no reason to. But I just want to read to y'all what was said today. And, there was one British woman, English. Well, she was British English, same difference. Eleanor. I don't know if I know her or not. Oh yes, I love Eleanor's channel. I love her. She's the same way. She doesn't give her opinion. She tells the story. She gives you the story and she doesn't give, I mean, she might say that's pretty creepy. I'm cold, if y'all are wondering. If you're wondering, I'm not doing this to, look cool or anything. I'm freezing. I just don't care to tell y'all. It is cold in Tennessee and I'm freezing. Oh, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I'm sorry I didn't say that before. And I know this is kind of a morose way to tell y'all happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. I love you guys. Well, I have my mango slash non-dragon fruit tea. It's not tea, it's a refresher. It's lemonade and mango lemonade. It's mango lemonade. I didn't get the dragon fruit put in it because I think the dragon fruit was upsetting my stomach. But I have another little piece of news I wanted to tell y'all. Um, I don't know if I should start this over. Yeah, there's no entitled comments, and that's like another girl I watch, 10 to Life. I watched 10 to Life with something Elise. Her name's Amber Elise. Is that her name? Amber Elise? I can't remember if her name's Amber Elise or what. I think it's Amber Elise. She tells the story. She gives the information. And I don't know how she does it. She does a video, I think almost every other day or I don't know. She does videos like every day almost. And it's crazy, like super crazy how many videos this girl does. It's just cray cray. But she does such a good job. And like, I love Bailey. I love Bailey Sarian. Like, Bailey's the one I fell in love with first. Like, y'all, this is not a fever blister. This is a piece of dried skin. And I keep looking at it because I never get this. And I can't find my chapstick. I don't know where my chapstick is. So I'm really not happy right now. So anyway, yeah, so I try to keep. Hey Jeeves, happy Valentine's Day. Oh, happy Valentine's Day, Sunny Bunny. So that's basically what I wanted to tell y'all about the Brian Landry, Gabby Petito. And I think this is going to wrap it up, guys. I thought the last video I was going to do about it was going to wrap it up. This should wrap it up unless something comes out about the family being arrested. Thank you, guys. Um, I don't think there's going to be anything else to this case unless they find, now let me say this, unless they find some of Brian's DNA on the two girls' bodies that they found in the mountains. That's the only thing. That's what I'm waiting for. I don't know if they'll find any of his DNA on the women that died in the mountains. Didn't you hear about that? Okay. when when Brian was in, I will sign off and then I'll log back in because I want to tell y'all something else, but I don't want it to be in this story, okay? Um Brian Brian Landry, when he after Gabby was dead, okay, from what I can understand, between the time it was either before Gabby was murdered, in the meantime that Gabby was murdered, or it was in that same time period. Okay, two women. It was a couple of women that had just gotten married. It looked like a fairly young couple that had been working at a coffee shop there in Moab, I believe. They were staying in the park. You know, they lived there in the park. They couldn't be gotten a hold of. Nobody could get a hold of them, and they didn't show up for work. And nobody was doing anything about it. Well, come to find out, a strange man had come to stay at their camp one night. And Brian had been at the coffee shop. I think now, don't quote me on this. I would have to look at a timeline because there's a timeline online. I think Brian had been there at the bar. There was video of them being at a bar, and the two women were at the bar, and Brian was at the bar, the same bar that they were at. So they all saw each other at this bar. And I don't know if they spoke to each other, if they had interaction with each other, anything. So there's a little bit of talk that maybe Brian had murdered those other two women. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But doesn't it seem a little odd that not only does Gabby end up dead, but those two women end up dead? And I said, well, are they going to tie Brian to this other murder? And why have they taken his, and again, I'm trying not to assume anything because I'm not a police officer, I'm not an investigator, but it would kind of it would sit a little uncomfortably in my mind that he was in the same vicinity, and a guy that fit Brian's description was at their camp, and then these two women ended up dead. Okay, so call me crazy, but I don't. That's the only other thing. There's that little. Maybe it's a wild hair. Maybe people are just saying it. Maybe it was just a conspiracy theory. But it just seems to me it's a little odd. And maybe they are following that case. Maybe they are following up on that. And maybe this will be the end of it. I don't know. And like I said, I thought that would be the end of the case when I talked about this before, when we found out that he did commit, that he did murder Gabby, and that we found out that he did. And I thought that would be the end of it. But they hadn't released his cause of death. And, they hadn't released all the information about that. So, we may find out more. We may find out that he did murder those two women. Maybe, maybe he did do that. So I don't know yet. So that's this case. Like I said, there's 47 pages to this public release. You can go to Law and Crime. That's where I got this information. And like I said, they've released 47 pages of the actual report, and you can read that on Law and Crime right now. And let me give the cursory credit again, because I'm at the end of the video. This was Jerry Lamb. This was his article that I read to y'all today, from Law and Crime Network. It's lawandcrime.com. And I just wanted to read it to you guys, because I know some people don't ever go over there. Some people don't read it. Some people don't get on the news because it's so dark and dreary. I gotcha. I understand, because it's dark and dreary. But I want to close this. I want to close this whole chapter out. I want to make sure that we cross all of our T's and dot our I's with this, because it's a really sad story. And it's not just about a young white couple. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of Native Americans that have died and went missing, that have not been found, that have not been looked for. And Gabby's family, this is the one thing I want to say that I appreciate about Gabby's dad. He said, I never want a family to go through what we went through. He said, so I don't care who they are. So they started started a thing in Gabby's memory to help people that are with missing children, with missing family. And so they're out there to help people. They didn't care if you're black, white, purple, orange, green, doesn't matter. They said, if you have a child missing, let us know. Just because our daughter was white did not mean that, she was any more special than anybody else. I don't think it was because Gabby was white. I think it was because Gabby had this beautiful heart. I honestly believe that. Gabby had a lot about her. I mean, if you looked at her videos, if you looked at her Instagram, she seemed like she had a loveliness about her. Just me seeing that? I don't think it was just me seeing that. I think the world saw that. And Brian took that from the world. So, so I'm not saying that it's not our fault. It's the media. Mainstream media pinpoints who they're going to go after. And, it's sad. There's a lot in Canada. There are Native Americans and there's Native people in Canada and Alaska, natives that are never found and never looked for, because a lot of them in Alaska are assumed to be prostitutes on a certain stretch of road. They're not even looked for. And that's what's sad. I can't even go into it because I start to cry, because they're just not looked for. And and because I'm religious and I believe every person should be loved and every person matters. Yeah, that's right, Sonny. We should all put that same love and effort into everybody that goes missing. But unfortunately, in Alaska, it's really difficult because the manpower they have up there is minuscule to what we have here. Alaska's like the last known frontier. It truly is. Canada, not so much. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeeves, but Canada's pretty populated, right? I mean, it's not, I mean, you've still got wild frontier, but Canada's pretty populated. So if somebody goes missing there, it should be handled, right? I mean, and the only reason I know about the indigenous people and I say native, I mean indigenous. I don't mean native, I mean indigenous people. And I said that wrong. My brain don't work right sometimes, so forgive me if I offended anybody. I meant indigenous. My brain don't work right. I'm Native American, so the native people, the indigenous people of the land in Alaska and in Canada, even in the United States, they're not cared about. I mean, it's honest truth. I mean, um, if you look at the cases of indigenous people that go missing in the United States alone that are looked for, the numbers are ridiculous. The unsolved cases, I mean, they just sit. I mean, I could probably go through. Now, in my area, we don't have a lot of indigenous. Um, I don't believe we have a tribe here. We may. I don't think so. I'm not associated with a tribe here, so I don't know for sure. I think they're closer to the Carolinas because that's where Cherokee, where the everything goes on. But um, normally, you get your indigenous peoples are more out toward the Midwest. But I had a girl that was telling me about all that stuff, but I had to block her. It's a long story, and I don't want to get into it. But um, I know, but it's sad. We just have to have people around that care about everybody. You know, and and now I'm not saying Canadians don't care about the indigenous people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there's not enough funding, not enough time, not enough boots on the ground in the police departments. They don't have time, and sometimes they don't want to put the time into it. I'm not talking about the people of Canada. I'm talking about your municipal um, governments, not the people of Canada. I'm talking about your municipal areas, your governmental agencies, your police departments, what I don't know what y'all call them up there. I do know, but I can't remember. Um, it's hard for them. I don't know how far they have to work, what the areas are they have to cover. I know you have mounted police, and that's difficult in itself. If you still have mounted police, I don't know if they have mounted police still or not. I'm sure they do. So, but anyway, all that to say, we need to care about everybody. And when somebody goes missing, everybody needs to do this that we did for Gabby, for everybody that goes missing. I don't care if the girl's purple, we do this. That's all I'm saying. This is, if we have another report on Brian or, the Gabby situation, I don't think we will. I hope we don't. I mean, I hope we don't find out that he murdered those two women. I would be interested to know who murdered the two women. And I don't think they've come out and said who murdered the two women. I'll have to do some deep diving to see. Um, but that's all for this. I'm going to discontinue this video, and then I may discontinue my YouTube channel because I'm not going to talk about that on YouTube. So I love you guys. Sonny, I'll be back on here in just a second, okay? I love you guys. I hope you guys have a great day. thanks for watching. This has been, another update from the Gabby Petito line Brian Laundry case. This is Mama Bear coming to you from Beartown News. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.